It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
It's a State of the Twins Monday edition here of the SKOR North Twins Show. Got the band back at full strength. The Twins offense is back at full strength.
Yes, they are.
You know what I'm saying?
Fun weekend. I love series, and there's not a ton of these when it's two good teams, right? Like Detroit comes in now, and they're sort of they're a disappointment. I gotta be honest, Tigers baseball, unless it's scuba pitching, doesn't do a lot for sports, Dad. But Houston, that was fun.
Yeah. And Houston, it's funny because Houston was buried in the first month of the season, and it looked like, man, is this like the end of the Astros here? And now they've come charging back, at least until they walked into Target Field. So we'll do our State of the Twins categories and questions here. But maybe you're looking at the calendar and you're planning a trip to Target Field to see one of the best teams in the American League, one of the best offenses in baseball the last couple months. Is there a hotel nearby, Declan, that people should potentially look to book their stay at?
Yeah, you should go to the Element Hotel. It is just steps away from Target Field. Our guy, Trevor Plouffe, says he has stayed there before, too, obviously, when he comes to town for whether it's calling Twins games or just being in town in Minneapolis. You can go to Element Hotel for complimentary free Wi-Fi. There's a 24-hour fitness center. The snacks options that I've always talked about, you know, when after stumbling home after, you know, having a couple or having a good night out in the North Loop even in general, it's nice to have some snack options there. And it's a pet-friendly hotel. You can book your next stay by going to skornorth.com/element for 15% off your booking. Go to skornorth.com/element, 15% off your booking.
Love it. So, okay, here's the overview. Twins 51-39 on this Monday. That is the high water mark, right? 12 games over 500.
Yeah. Yep.
Second place in the American League Central, a handful of games out still. Fourth in runs scored per game now in Major League Baseball. They have the fourth best runs per game offense and the fourth best OPS. 17th in runs allowed per game, so right sort of smack dab in the middle. 85% chance to make the playoffs, according to Baseball Reference, and a 7% chance to win the whole bleeping thing. So we'll start with Declan here. He's our resident Twins insider. He is our Twins beat podcaster. Twins vibes are blank right now.
The Twins vibes are threatening. They are a threat now, in my opinion, in the AL, not just AL Central, but the American League. So the Twins get off to a disappointing start. Then they rally for a bunch of wins. Then they get beat up again. They rally for more wins. They get beat up again. But now I think you're starting to see sustained success, and you're starting to see more consistency out of the majority of these players. You have someone like Carlos Correa, who gets the All-Star nod yesterday, and he's obviously playing at the peak of his powers. Doesn't seem to be necessarily just a hot streak for Byron Buxton. He has been swinging the bat very, very well. I know we'll get into likely Brooks Lee and others, but you look up and down the depth of this lineup, it's pretty damn good. The starting rotation, I know there's been some ebbs and flows with Pablo, but that's still been pretty consistent. I think the back-end bullpen, getting Brock Stewart back, who is going to be going on a rehab assignment here tomorrow, so he's getting closer to returning. The Twins aren't just squeezing in as one of the last wild card teams in here. They are a threat. I think they are a threat in the American League. They're finally living up to their potential. We'll see if they can catch Cleveland, but the Twins' vibes are threatening.
Judd?
Twins vibes are bombalicious.
Oh, I like that.
Bombalicious. This team has now they're certainly not as prolific home run wise as the 2019 group was, but they have now hit a home run, including the Christian Vazquez walk-off to win the game on Sunday in the bottom of the ninth against the Astros in a club record 25 consecutive games. That streak is almost a month old, and it's the longest streak of Bombas in the major leagues this season. So the Twins, as Phil said, they're scoring runs, and a decent amount of those are coming off the good old-fashioned Bomba, so I describe them as bombalicious.
I like that's a great word.
It's a great word. There. I think the only thing, though, is like the Bomba squad to me, even though that was a fun year, was so disappointing that I also still want to like distance myself and differentiate myself from 2009. I love the word. The word is great. The word is, it sounds like a popsicle, obviously, like with the bomb pop or some type of beverage there. But I want to distance myself from the 2019 Twins, too.
Yeah, I think I don't know what to do with this. Like, if they're nowhere near like 300, are they going to hit 300 home runs? They're not. They're not anywhere. Yeah, I mean, they've hit some home runs, but yeah, I think organically we've got some distance. You know, like that was the Bomba squad because they were the home run squad, the greatest home run hitting team in baseball history at the time.
Yep.
I'm going to say Twins vibes are better than they were at this time last year.
Oh, yeah.
So going into the All-Star break last year, and we still have a week until the All-Star break, but the Twins were 45-46 after a 3-game sweep at home at the hands of Baltimore. They got beat, if you guys remember, 15-2 on Sunday, July 9th, the last game of the first half of the season. Just got absolutely drubbed. Kyle Gibson picked up the win for Baltimore inside Target Field in that game. And so they had to go back to the drawing board, take a deep breath, regroup. They come out and they win a bunch of games. They had to like play their asses off just to get back into, playoff contention. Although, I mean, that was a bad division. So I think they were actually up or tied for the division lead despite being below 500 because the division was so bad. But to be like, they had to fight to become an actual threat in the playoffs for the last 3 months. Well, they've laid much better groundwork in April, May, and June this year. And their lineup is just filled with promising young hitters, and we're going to get into some more of these in the next category. So I like this team better than I like last year's team. It's looked a little weird in some certain spots, but the vibes are better than they were at this time last year.
Absolutely. In fact, I think it was around this time a year ago that I actually did an afternoon Judd after a game calling for Rocco's job.
You did. That's correct.
Saying I was sick of this. It got picked up by Bring Me the News. It was all over the place. But yeah, there is no question this team feels for a lot of reasons like a different team, including Correa, who, was struggling at the plate. And he played through it, to his credit, but the difference between Carlos Correa 2023 and 24 is just the gap is so incredibly wide.
Yeah.
There.
Did you ever officially admit that you were wrong about Rocco? Did we get the official apology from you at any point here?
No, because they turn things
around
a bit. I don't like to admit I'm wrong when I am why a team takes off.
Okay.
Like I'm calling for Josh.
I think you could have just stopped with, I don't like to admit when I was wrong. I don't think we needed the second part of that.
No, but then what we get is, Christian Vasquez, I wanted this guy gone a week ago, and now all of a sudden we're starting to say, what's going on? Yeah. What's the common, Carlos Santana.
Thank God.
His ass. What happened?
Thank God Vasquez read your tweets and listened to your commentary. He doesn't hit that walk.
Royce Lewis takes the show in every day. He clips it up and takes it in. He's like, this is what you got to see.
Clearly, yes. So, okay, what is your current favorite Twins thing, Declan?
I mean, there's a lot of options here. Since I'm going first, I guess, in line, I'll take the Brooks Lee part of this and go with it. I mean, it's just been just a handful of games, but man, when you watch him, you watch the swing and this the first 5 games. He has he's a switch hitting player, which obviously is always fun to see, but he has multiple hits. He's hitting for power. He's driving the ball. His fielding, I think, has looked pretty solid too. I think my favorite thing has easily just been Brooks Lee's injection into this lineup of a guy that is a top prospect that had a vacancy here because Royce Lewis got hurt again, but also is just, they're batting him 8th, they're batting him 9th. They're not asking him to necessarily save the franchise, but they are asking him still to play every day. And so far, he has lived up to that potential. This is good to see because sometimes a lot of these prospects can take a little bit. We even saw that with Jackson Holiday on a loaded Baltimore team. Same thing that happened there. He was injected into the bottom of that order because it was loaded, and he struggled, and he's still in the minor leagues. I think Brooks Lee looks legit, man, and this is awesome to see, and I'm glad he was able to come up here and basically put some new life into a lineup that already was clicking very, very well. I love what I saw from Brooks Lee in the few games.
The approach from especially the left-handed side of the plate is so unique too, because he balances his weight. He looks like he is circa 1958. Like it's an old school approach. He balances his weight perfectly, and watch his bat come through the zone. I can't describe it. I tweeted this. I'd love to hear this breakdown from like a person that really understands this. But the hitting dynamics are really interesting to watch there. And it's an approach that the swing is compact enough and it's impressive. But I don't know if it's because his dad's a baseball coach. I don't know if it comes from his dad or what, but it is a really unique approach. Because the one of the things about baseball that drives me nuts now is so many of the stances, right? And like the swings are, everyone does the same thing. Watch Brooks Lee's approach, and it's like, okay, that's different. It's fun to watch.
Well, his dad said, like, and when he did the first interview with Bally's, for those that could watch, early last week, was his swing on the left side is trash. The exact words his dad used were trash because he put in a lot more effort on the right side of the plate this last offseason. And
works.
Here he is on the left side of the plate raking. So now like Corey and when Perk was on the call this weekend, they're like, oh, there's that trash swing again from Brooks Lee driving the ball to the opposite field. So
it's interesting.
it is very interesting, yes.
Wow. Okay.
It's fun. Yeah, I mean, it does. You're right. First of all, his name is Brooks. He's literally named after like old school baseball players, and so there's like an old school, old soul nature to his.
And he made that play. He made a great play yesterday on that bunt, that drag bunt. That was a gorgeous play.
But it does feel like he's just trying to do whatever he can to put a bat on a ball from the left side, and then his right-handed swing is much more honed.
He's thick too. Like he's got the big
is.
butt. He's got the big. He's got
I
a
wasn't
big.
gonna go that way.
He's got a big trunk. That dude's got a big trunk.
Didn't know that the conversation was gonna.
That guy's not going to be a shortstop for long.
No.
I think he's going to end his career DH or first base. He's a thick kid.
We're already moving him to DH.
I'm saying years from now. You just look at how he's built, and he's not fat at all. He's just a big guy.
No, he's a big dude. But I mean, I don't think we're gonna move him to DH. I think he does profile as a very athletic infielder.
I said end of his career.
Okay, but everyone moves to DH at the end of their career, don't they?
Okay, then he'll move to first base before that. He's a thick kid. Yep.
Okay, Jeb, what is your favorite current Twins thing besides Brooks Lee's rump?
Well, you know what? I'm going to leave. So I feel as if what Miranda did deserves its own conversation, and Phil, feel free to take that. But I want to go after something that I don't think is being discussed enough. And it came to light again on Sunday. It is the pitching of Simeon Woods-Richardson. So he gives up 2 runs to the Astros in the second on Sunday. And it looked like, okay, this might not be good, right? And like I think we keep waiting for him to scuffle or start to struggle, and he doesn't. And sure enough, he gets the last out of the second and retires 12 consecutive guys after that. He gave up 3 hits, 88 pitches in 6. He was absolutely great. His ERA now is down to 3.48, which is second best among the Twins starters to Ryan, who pitched on Saturday. I think what this kid has done, like if in spring training I had said, hey, look, Paddock, it's not going to be shocking, but he's not going to be great. He's going to, have to spend a stint on the IL. So like Simeon Woods-Richardson is going to have to play a key role. If I'm not mistaken, at the start of the season, he was the Twins' 29th ranked prospect. Like there was not an expectation there.
Was he that low?
It had dropped a lot. He was in the 20s, but the point is it had dropped a lot, right? And like we basically thought at one point there, the Barrios trade might be a total bust. So I just think it's fair to shine the spotlight on a starting pitcher who can get in trouble, but then ordinarily pitches his way out of trouble. And if you take him out of that rotation, you think about like the trickle down effect. So shout out to SWR.
I'm going to piggyback off you here because I think Simeon Woods-Richardson falls into a similar bin as Jose Miranda does. So I'll take the Jose Miranda thing here and kind of put these guys in the same category, which is in 2023, 2024, we want it now society, right? And this happens in sports. Look at, we do Purple Daily every day, our Vikings podcast, and quarterbacks come into the NFL, and if they're not good in the first season, they're a bust. Like everyone's writing off was Bryce Young, the Carolina Panthers quarterback, because he had a bad first year in a dumpster fire organization. If J.J. McCarthy doesn't come in and right away show you that he's Tom Brady or, whoever else, then he's going to be garbage. Like, we want it now. But baseball is a sport where sometimes it takes an up, a down, you're up, you're down. Maybe it's like your third or fourth time getting called up to the big leagues. Maybe you were drafted when you were 18 years old, or maybe out of your junior year in college, 21. And it takes you 5 years of clawing through the system and then a couple stop starts. And you never know when a guy's going to click. They don't always come up like Edward Julian and just hit like, an 800 OPS in their first season. And so with Simeon Woods-Richardson, same thing. Okay, he's climbing up the ladder. He was a highly ranked prospect. Runs into a snag at AAA, gets rocked in his couple innings in the big leagues, and now he's a bust. He's garbage. Let's get rid of him, right? I mean, remember Trevor May's first ever appearance in the big leagues?
In Oakland.
And he walked seven guys. He couldn't throw a strike. Yeah. And it was like, whoa, what's this guy? He has a 10-year big league career. Baseball's hard. And so Simeon Woods-Richardson should not have been written off, and now he's showing you why they traded for him a couple years ago. And Jose Miranda was a complete back burner guy in the spring training conversation for most fans and media, right? It was, you're going through the Royce Lewis's, Brooks Lee's going to come up in the infield, and obviously Ed Julian, and like the list of guys you'd have to go through before Jose Miranda was even a factor anywhere on this roster, because, he struggled last year. But this dude from AA up to AAA, mashed in the minors at pretty much every stop. And then this year he winds up, this weekend, tying the major league record for consecutive at-bats with a hit. 12 straight at-bats with a hit, 13 straight plate appearances, reached base. Accomplished only by Johnny Kling in 1902, Pinky Higgins in 1938.
Love the nicknames.
Love Pinky Higgins.
Walt Dropo in 1952.
Yeah, great name.
Yes, Pinky Higgins. Here comes
71 years, right?
Yeah, 1952.
I know.
Pinky seems like the kind of guy that goes cleat first into second base. He's taking an ankle
Pinky's
out.
got skeletons.
He's taking out your future
There's a lot
family.
about Pinky you don't want to know.
Yeah.
Johnny Kling here. Now, 1902 is like those guys were swinging tree trunks and just
and
the pitchers would kick the crazy leg up. Yeah, they set their cigarette down. So I guess my long point is the moral of the story, if a young player comes up and struggles the first time up, maybe the second time up, it doesn't mean that they're garbage. It doesn't mean that they're written off forever. It doesn't mean you should trade them automatically. It means baseball's really hard, and the incubation process for players figuring it out is different across the board. And now Jose Miranda is one of your best hitters on the fourth best offense in baseball, and Simeon Woods-Richardson looks like he's going to be in the rotation the entire season.
The Miranda thing that makes no sense to me is his 2023 was ruined because he was hurt. And we sort of just punted. We're all like, okay, he's not going to make it because, and look, yes, Royce is the shiny toy, right? Like if he can ever stay on the field consistently, he's phenomenal. Yeah. Brooks Lee comes up and is great. But we dismissed Miranda as if he had a terrible year without being hurt. And it's like, no, if you go back, he was hurt all year long. So yeah, I'm with you completely. And I mean, this guy at the plate right now, you talk about locked in. It is a pleasure to watch an athlete, a baseball player who is locked in to the degree that dude was, because it got to be, it was ridiculous. Every time he'd come up.
To your point about last year, he was it shoulder? He's a shoulder issue last year.
Yes.
And so 2022 was his breakout. He was a really good hitter in the major leagues in 2022.
Correct.
And he winds up with a 751 OPS, some home runs. He was the 90th ranked prospect on Baseball America's list going into 2022. And then he comes up and he's kind of delivering on that prospect status as a 24-year-old. Mm-hmm. And again, to your point, he had a garbage 2023 season, and I guess he might have been injured, but either way, he's classic Twins, whatever, No, it just sometimes it takes a minute.
And it does create a surplus of where does he fit? He probably is, like, if we want to look at 2025, he's probably your opening day first baseman. Now he's going to have to work a lot defensively, and I can already hear, he's not in the building yet, I can hear Patrick Royce scoffing at the idea of Jose Miranda being an everyday defensive first baseman. But he does probably, that's where he's going to fit. And then also, like, where does Julian? These are good problems to have, by the way. Like, these are all the good problems to have of where do some of these guys fit in the long-term plans of the Twins' future.
They also just sent Keyshaw because Brooks Lee's up with the big league squad. So Luke Keyshaw is another infielder, and he's going to be in the futures game representing the Twins. They're probably going to have to trade from this bin at some point.
As we've seen, too, it is a rarity for everyone to be healthy at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like every March we tear our figurative hair out, right? Well, where's this guy going to play? Where's that going to play? Well, right now, that depth is the savior. Like, that is the savior. I mean, Brooks Lee comes up, and I will credit the Twins on Brooks Lee for getting him up here. Like, I will say that, because I feel like that's the type of guy where they're like, well, we're incubating him. We're going to slow cook it, right? And the Twins were like, at that time, when Lee was called up, we can call up Julian, Wallner, which they did eventually, or Lee, and they said, screw it. So I will give them credit because that guy right now looks like he fits.
Yeah.
I'm sure the adjustments.
By the way, on the Twins offense currently, so they had the third highest OPS in the month of June, and now through the first week of July, they have the highest OPS by far of any team in baseball. So the Twins in July are hitting 345 with a 422 on base percentage as a team over the last week, and a 549 slugging percentage. So
the Popper.
Yeah, you guys all wanted Popper fired, questioning his credentials.
Oh God, for 2 years I questioned him. For 2 years I questioned him. Now Popper's a genius.
He really is. Yeah, let's give that guy an extension, double his paycheck. Okay, before we get to the next category here, let's actually pause for a moment and talk about Dennis Kirk. All you riders out there, it's going to be hot on the pavement this week, and it's a glorious time to get out there. Whatever it is that you ride, motorcycles, ATVs, UTVs, dirt bikes, 185,000 parts, apparel, and accessories at DennisKirk.com. All the top brands, same-day shipping and free shipping on orders over $89. They also have lifetime returns. So if it's still like new and they still carry the product, you can return it even 10 years later. So it's a nice little deal from DennisKirk.com. Check them out, DennisKirk.com. And coming up, what's the date on the 3M Open? Tell us about the 3M Open here, Dax.
Yeah.
Coming up this month, right?
July 22nd through the 28th. It's back. You can see Sahith Theegala. You can see Zach Johnson's going to be there this year. Lee Hodges is defending the title. Tony Finau had a great win there a couple years back. And at the 3M Open, the golf matters, the great play matters, the shots matter, the scores matter. And you want to be there, too, to see the game. That matters. So get your tickets today by going to 3mopen.com. Get your tickets by going to 3mopen.com.
Baseball.
Okay. Your least favorite current Twins thing. Let's balance this thing out.
Yeah, it's hard to pick something that's happening on the team necessarily. So I will go externally with my least favorite thing. I do not like that the Twins just have one All-Star in Carlos Correa, who is much deserving to go. But I think there's some other candidates here. Number one, I believe I saw this on Fangraphs. Aaron Gleeman had it from The Athletic. Willie Castro has the highest WAR of any player that is not on the All-Star roster. So every player that is above Willie is on an All-Star roster, AL or NL. Now, it's hard, I think, because number one, it's Willie Castro, and it's hard for probably Nashville to pick up on him. It's also more difficult because I believe he has made 10 starts at 5 different positions for the Twins this year. So not to say like that is the determining factor of why I didn't make the All-Star game, but he's not making highlight reel plays at the same position every day in and day out. I think Griffin Jax, and I think this is the tougher one because setup men just don't get the love and respect they probably deserve because they're not getting the saves and they're not necessarily the first guy out of the bullpen there, but Griffin Jax has been by far and away the Twins' best reliever this season. So I think Griffin Jax has a legitimate case. Joe Ryan has been just incredibly consistent this year. Does he have a case to make it? I think there is another player that can still get added to this roster here because people do drop out. Injuries can happen. So there could be someone else that does go with Carlos to the All-Star game this time next week. But my least favorite thing is only one All-Star for the Twins. They deserve another one.
I'd love to see Willie Castro because, there's probably going to be a sub or two. That usually happens in the last week, right? And so, right now in the American League, actually, I'm gonna go all of Major League Baseball position players. I'm on Fangraphs right now. Willie Castro he's tied for the 18th highest WAR among all position players in all of baseball. He's tied with Jose Ramirez from Cleveland in wins above replacement.
Mm-hmm.
He's ahead of Jose Altuve. Yordan Alvarez. He's right behind some of the best players in baseball. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Francisco Lindor is having a good season for the Mets. Yeah. So he's right behind Carlos Correa in wins above replacement. So he's right in that mix with some of the best players in baseball. Part of it's like his position value. He can play, if you play shortstop, second base, some center field, that's going to increase your wins above replacement because you can play those positions at a high level. But he can steal bases. He has 54 runs on the season too, which leads the team, which ranks him top 25 in baseball. So, he's got more runs scored than Jose Altuve. He's got more runs scored than Bryce Harper. So I'd like to see him get some sort of credit for this incredible season he's putting together.
You're muted, Judley.
Oh, thank you. So I don't give a damn about who wins this game. The only thing I care about are the initial rosters. Because, guys get replaced, but, that's still, you're a replacement. And for a sport that claims to be incredibly enlightened now with, like, the analysis of players, these all-star teams are not. Griffin Jax is example A, okay? I went through this morning. The American League has 12 pitchers. 8 starters are picked and 4 closers. There is nobody who resembles a setup man. So the closers are Class A, Clay Holmes of the Yankees, who has saves, but I'm not sure he should be on this team at all. Miller of Oakland, Kirby Yates of Texas. All of those guys are closers. Griffin Jax has a 1.88 ERA, and by the way, with 7 saves in 40 games. Like baseball claims to be, we understand what everything means now, and we
still value the save more than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. The save is a ridiculous statistic from 1969, which awards a save if the tying run is on deck.
Yeah.
So like, how is that enlightened? And I'm not even. I think Jax got screwed here, but this is not a Griffin Jax rant. This is there a more 1975 thing than 8 starters and 4 closers?
Yeah. Let's go in the weeds on this here. Okay. I like that you brought this up. Because if you're gonna value, I would say there's 2. You can use like ERA and strikeouts, and those are ways to value relievers.
Sure.
Wins above replacement, but win probability added is probably the best way if you want to like dig deep in the weeds here.
Sure.
So I'm gonna try to explain this the best I can. Win probability added is when you come into a game as a hitter or a pitcher based on the current state of the game. So the score, the inning, the number of outs, the men on base, whatever.
Tying run on deck?
Could be tying run on deck. Could be anything, whatever it is.
I'm joking.
Could be tying run is on third base, right?
Sure.
It's what percentage chance do you have to win the game when you enter in that situation?
Yep. And
then after you've done what you've done, what is the percent chance to win a game? So, like, let's say you come up to the plate, and I don't know the exact percentages. It's the bottom of the 9th inning, and your team has a 30% chance to win the game because you're trailing by 2 runs, but the bases are loaded. There's 2 outs. So maybe it's a 25% chance to win the game. You hit a game-winning grand slam. Or like Christian Vasquez yesterday. The game is tied, and he was leading off, right? It was a leadoff home run to start the night. So, so it's like kind of a 50-50. You probably have like a 55-60% chance to win that game because you're batting. Let's call it 60%. Now it's a 100% chance because you hit a walk-off homer. So you get 40%. You get a 0.4 win probability added because you went from 60% chance to win. You hit a home run, and now it's 100. And the pitcher gets docked 0.4. I don't know if anyone is still following what I'm saying.
I got it.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, like for context, Emilio Pagan had some pretty poor win probability added during his moments as the Twins reliever because he gave up some horrific home runs at the worst possible time.
Yep. So Griffin Jax is currently 26th in all of baseball among relievers in win probability added, not pitching in the 9th inning most of the time.
Correct.
Where things get kind of wacky. So like Emmanuel Clase has the best win probability added. Kirby Yates is number 2. Kenley Jansen for Boston is in the top 5. And by the way, Duran is 20th. So the Twins have 2 of the top
Clay
20.
Holmes?
Clay Holmes is somewhere below Griffin Jax.
I don't know why he's an all-star. Well, I do. He's a Yankee.
Yeah, you do.
He's a Yankee. But I guess for a game that claims to be enlightened about things, I don't understand it, but whatever.
I mean, there's Ian Hamilton with the Yankees.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm scrolling. I don't know. Unless I missed him, like he's not in the top 100 in terms of this is just one stat. It's just win probability added.
Sure. But if you're an all-star, it'd be nice to be in the top 100 there.
But it's hard. Like it took me a half hour to explain that, and so it's like hard when you're trying to level with normal fans, like who just casually watch baseball. You want the big saves guys from the big teams.
Pitchers at all, right? Like fans don't pick. I think it's players pick some of them, and then like baseball people. That's the thing is it's not voting for pitchers.
Top men.
Top men.
Jeb, what's your least
All right.
favorite current Twins?
All right. I'm going a little bit of show and tell because Friday night was Pablo Lopez bobblehead night. There's Pablo right there. He got a bobblehead.
Nice
He's
bobblehead.
that good. He's that good, right? Well, you might want to get it together. So he had back-to-back solid starts and wins against the A's, who are bad, and the Mariners, who are good, but they can't hit. Okay. So it's like, that was a good sign, but it's like, okay, now it's Houston. It's Friday night. It's game 1. What do you got? 6 runs, 8 hits, 5 innings of work. He pitched into the 6th, 13-12 loss. And there was a lot of bitching about Rocco, the use of the bullpen. Like there was a lot of subtle things that caused fans to be upset. But like I said the entire time, if you get a good start from your supposed ace or one of them, 13-12 is not a problem. You score 12 runs, you win 12-3, 12-5, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of things to like here. The Twins are doing a lot of things well. The Twins right now, I would say, are a very fun team. But when we're talking about the playoffs, when we're talking about the first round, which the Twins are going to have to play in if they do qualify, and I think that they will, that's 2 of 3, right? Pablo Lopez is almost certainly going to start one of those 2 to 3 games, and probably the goal is game 1. You got to get more than this. The ERA is over 5 again. The Twins, I guess I'm with Dex right now. Game 1, I think you would have to start.
You have to start Joe Ryan
because, but at some point in time, Pablo has to help you too. Like you can't just punt and be like, oh, okay, I guess he can't start. So, Pablo, buddy, when you get one of these, guess what? That means you're good. That means the team relies on you. So start to prove it. This has been way too much up and down, and the ERA being above 5 in July, I can't spin that positively as any type of fluke. It's a problem.
I guess, I don't know. I need Declan to tell us how panicked we should be here because I'm not. I know that it's, like he gives up a bunch of crooked numbers and whatever. And like
I was after Friday.
But again, like all of his peripherals are in line with where they should be. And he's just like giving up more runs than normal. And I know that's hard to hear because like all that matters is the result. But in baseball, good process over the course of 6 months will even itself out. And literally every single one, like his strikeout rate is in line with last year. His walk rate is better than it was last year. He's giving up his biggest thing is too many home runs per fly ball.
Yep.
But it's not that far out of line compared to where it was last year. His His fielding independent pitching, his FIP, his expected ERA is in line with where it was last year. Even like his, this is really wonky, but his batting average on balls in play, you would think, well, if he's unlucky, then that would be high. Like, it's actually in line with where it was last year. So I kind of expect it to even out at some point. He'll find the right little tweaks to make, like he did against 2 bad offenses. So I'm not panicking yet. If we get to like the end of August and his ERA is still over 5, okay, I will officially start panicking.
I thought with the Stros on Friday that was a game where, hey, he's going well now. Let's see it continue. And then back to what you just said, Phil. Like it's great to get yourself settled down against the A's and M's, but then it's like, okay, home game Friday night, Houston, and he was bad. So I guess I'm a little bit panicked based on not the numbers themselves, but who they're against. But he's ideally ideally perfect world. He starts game 1.
Here's the good news:
playoffs, and right
Judd,
now,
the list of players Judd has panicked about this year includes a lot of players that went on to, like Carlos Santana.
Well, Vazquez, I'm
Carlos Correa. You panicked about?
No, that was last year.
You were panicking
at the beginning. About Correa.
You got a little panicky early
this year.
A little panicky
did I?
early. Oh yeah.
Santana, I did for sure.
Yeah, Santana did.
Santana, I did. And Castro, I did because I said I think that they're playing him too much, and for that I will apologize.
Oh,
he's been. I mean,
an apology.
Oh yeah, because Castro, he wasn't awful. It's just that they were playing him every day, and I'm like, I don't think he should play. And I think you guys both agreed to a certain point, but he's been magnificent. I will apologize.
Here's my question on
to Willie
this,
Castro.
Right? Let's all take a side here. Let's all take a stance. So to Judd's point, we're a little over halfway through the schedule, and Pablo Lopez has a 5.18 earned run average. If you had to make a decision right now for your entire future, there's the hypothetical gun to your head. It's some weird scenario where criminals have said, we need an answer on Pablo Lopez, and if you're wrong, you're going to get it. Will his ERA be below 4.75 at season's end?
Yeah.
You have to be right.
Yeah.
You have to be right. No future Declan family, no little Goffs running around.
If that's the way I go out, that sounds fine. Like that's
it's a weird way to go out.
Yeah, it's a weird way to go out. But I'm okay
saying
with it.
under 4.75. Yeah, so he'll lower it by a half a run from where it is right now.
I wish I could say that, but I can't right now. No, can't do it. Sorry.
So you're saying he'll finish with an ERA of around 5 or higher?
Yes, and I'm more concerned about this. If we have to have a debate about who should start game 1 because of what Pablo is not doing, that concerns me too.
Yeah, I mean,
playoffs concern me. Sorry.
I talked to him early last week because I asked him about the sweeper again. I was like, all right, so you weren't throwing it as much again the last 2 starts. Or I think in the second start, he mixed it in a little bit more. But I was like, what is it about the sweeper that you keep going back to? And he went into detail about how, like, every week he sits down with the pitching with Pete Mackey and the advanced pitching statistic guys and all of them. They really dive deep into baseball.
It's a room full of people, Declan.
So if you look at some of the advanced,
there's 50 people in this room. We don't know their names.
Sweeper button, sweeper button, sweeper button, sweeper button. So he told me it's all matchup based, and he sits down with the advanced metrics team, and they find which hitters they can expose with certain pitches. And again, I just think Pablo, in my opinion, and maybe this isn't all Pablo, maybe this is a staff thing, that they are spamming the sweeper for him. And he's given up 5 home runs on it this year. It got hit around a good amount again last start against Houston. His fastball's good. His changeup has usually historically been pretty good. It has a high average, but his expected slugging on that's pretty low. Like, I think he has to figure out a different pitch mix and find a third pitch that isn't the sweeper of spamming that button. Because in starts where he has, when we first talked about this a few weeks ago, in starts where it's a predominant fastball, changeup, 1-2 delivery mix, his results have been good. So I think that's the type of adjustment he has to make. And also then, can you be still productive knowing that opponents are now not going to expect the sweeper? So not to say like a fastball changeup mix is going to completely get you by, but if that's your new repertoire, Other teams can start figuring that out too. So can he find a new third pitch that is as effective as his sweeper was last year without having to rely on it? And I think that would be the difference maker into him likely turning the corner for good from his advanced metrics to his traditional metrics.
What about a gyro ball?
Gyro one, yeah. He did actually. Speaking of baseball, like he told me about. I wrote this down too because like some days are going to be open face days. So open face days are your fastballs and your change ups, and then some days are closed face days, which are your curveballs and your sliders. So that like he got really heavy into weeds with me on how he goes about what he wants to throw. And
you should suggest like a knuckleball to him. So,
a knuckleball.
I got some thoughts.
You should go in and sit down with Rocco and Pete Mackey in that entire room and say, we need to rethink the sweeper thing.
Yeah, but here's an interesting part is
Just
Griffin Jax's sweeper has been effective year to year. I think Joe Ryan has added his sweeper. Like his sweeper's been effective year to year. It's Pablo who added the sweeper last year, and it was really good. And this year it stinks.
Maybe it's just not a good sweeper.
Good. Yeah.
Maybe it's it's more like a stinker. You know, maybe we just need to rename the pitch and throw it out.
Pew. That's a pew pitch. You're also talking about bullpen guys, though. Like I think with starters, there's probably my guess is Pablo got the sweeper into the mix a lot in 23, right? And it surprised guys. But I mean, these, to go back to like football as well, professionals in a lot of cases, especially teams as far as scouting goes, do nothing but focus on what you just did so that they can undo it. And I would guess with a reliever, it's a little bit tougher, but a starter who you ideally, I mean, in Pablo's case, you probably see him 3 times through, right? Ideally, like, because he shouldn't have to be taken out. So I think what you're saying makes perfect sense, Declan. And may I suggest that you knock on some doors?
Baseball.
Falvey, Levine, Rocco, Pete Mackey, Pablo, and say,
suggestions.
Hey, look, I'm going to quit that Twin Show. You're going to pay me $1 million to tell, because I'm going to tell you what you should do.
Yes. Okay.
I'll quit the show. Give me $1 million, and I'll tell you what.
And I'll tell you what you should
great.
do.
All right.
That'd be great.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
They won't even.
You guys might be in trouble, but okay.
Oh, we got age. He's not going to know what to do with baseball.
That's the problem.
But he'll be great on hockey and football.
My least favorite current Twins thing.
Baseball.
We can be quick on this and do a longer episode later in the week. Is the fact that we might be watching the best overall Twins team in like, not the best record, I'm saying, but like the best overall Twins team and most exciting Twins team in like 14 years. Maybe even like 18 years. When you talk about the high-end young talent, they're currently pacing for like 92, 93 wins. And nobody can watch the games on TV unless you have DirecTV or Fubo TV. Now, they did see a nice spike in attendance here these last couple home weekends. They had like 30,000 plus at these.
Drew, yes.
Yeah. So,
correct.
But it's just like we can do a deeper dive into this week, the current TV situation. But it's kind of sad that a lot of people have tuned out Twins baseball because they don't know how, or they don't want to pay extra money or jump to a different platform. And as of right now, there's no direct-to-consumer way to stream the games.
Especially when the current platform might be dying soon. More on that later.
Oh.
Also, one just quick aside, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate baseball fans. Target Field was hopping. It's great. For the love of God, please stop booing Jose Altuve for being a cheater when you cheer Carlos Correa. I am far from the first person in the press box to point this out, but they're buddies and they both benefited from the same scheme. So, like, we boo Altuve like the rest of the fans around the league boo Correa, but you've got Correa playing shortstop for you. It makes no sense.
I don't think people are thinking about that.
And plus, Altuve is small guy. What a player he is. Little guy's a hell of a player.
I mean, pending how he's viewed as from the trash kid thing, he's a Hall of Famer. Jose Altuve is a Hall of Famer.
That's a great question, too.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Will that be held against guys? I don't think it will. I think that that the guys that deserve to go in will, but that's a really good, interesting question.
Steroids are like Barry Bonds is one of the greatest,
Long-term
probably one of the
cheat.
5 greatest players of all time, and he's not going to get in because he took steroids.
But a guy who
Correct.
benefited from a short-term scheme from banging on trash cans, I think probably will.
I know that we've had all these exhaustive debates, but what's more of an advantage, knowing what pitch is coming or being stronger? I would argue
Knowing
that
what pitch is coming.
knowing what pitch is coming
Oh,
is
I'm
a
not-
bigger advantage.
I'm not debating you.
100%.
I'm guessing.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
hypothesizing. Yeah,
And-
no, you're right.
And there's gamemanship, and there's gonna be things that happen, but like from not even just trash can gate, but like what the Yankees got punished with, and
Yeah,
everything else with Spygate and stuff too.
Red
Like
Sox, you're right.
I think it left a lot of people sometimes, and obviously like with Chapman too, when he gave up that home run, like he's looking around like, how did they do that? That wasn't just one lucky swing. How did he know that was coming? So the whole thing is bizarre.
But boo Jose Altuve and yay.
I'm
Carlos
cool with
Correa.
it. If you
Let's
want to
go.
boo him, I'm all. It doesn't bug me. I called
seems
George
so
Springer a trash can banger on the second date with my soon-to-be wife. Like
It's so hypocritical, though.
it's fine. Be a fan. I'm
But
good
love
with it.
Correa. So
Yeah,
if
that's fine.
Altuve comes here, you're like, oh, all's forgiven. We love you now.
And boo AJ Przinsky
And
too.
then boo AJ
his ass.
Przinsky. Yeah.
And Jeter. We hated Jeter. It's like he's one of the classiest, like, yeah.
Yeah, he left gift baskets for his mistresses. I mean, who's classier than Derek Jeter?
Dude. It's
Signed
lady-
baseball?
it's
Thanks for
lady
hooking up with me
friends.
last night.
It's lady friends, okay? Mistresses sound so tawdy.
Okay. Well, we covered a lot of ground on today's
Brooks Lee's got a big butt. That's all
SKOR
I'm
North
saying.
Twins
Okay?
Show.
He's got that big trunk.
Tomorrow, Trevor Plouffe Tuesday here. And if you haven't already, we've got, it's like 3 or almost 4 months old, the brand new SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. Please click that like button and the subscribe button there. Help us grow it. Over 3,000 subscribers and counting. So thank you. We'll see you tomorrow on the SKOR North Twins Show.